Hello. Today I'll be doing my Halloween 1978 review because my friends won't shut up about it. To be honest, it's gonna suck crap. I'm just gonna tell you right now. This is gonna be like a in-depth review or anything made by a professional. This is gonna be like maybe, yeah, at least has to be 6 minutes long. My friend said, but I'm gonna make the best out of it. So I love this movie. I love Halloween 1978. And if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend you go and watch it. And it's going to be spoiler review because obviously it came out in 1978 and everybody at least knows what happened. And if you haven't, I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. So I'm going to start off by saying obviously it's a John Carpenter film. The score is amazing. It's still one of the best horror scores to date. Like once you hear those like three notes, do, you know what it is. You don't need to hear the rest of it. And it's just iconic. It's one of the best anyone's ever made. I can't talk. See, I told you it was gonna be bad. The cinematography in this film is beautiful. John Carpenter has a way of using shadows in the background to kind of hint at things. Like one of my favorite scenes in the movie is it's after Laurie's friend gets out of the laundry room when she was stuck there, and the little girl helps her out, and she's talking to her boyfriend on the phone, and in the background you just see Michael standing there in the doorway. I didn't notice that the first time. A lot of people noticed that the first time, but I guess I'm just retarded. But you just see him standing there in the background, and it's just really nice to see a director who uses background and just hints at things instead of shoving it in your face. And also that final chase scene when Michael's walking up the steps. Before he walks up the steps, you can see a shadow come over the back of the wall, and that scene in general is just amazing. That's still one of the best chase scenes to date. And yes, that leads me to a thing. The scene is a bit cheesy. Everything in this movie is a bit cheesy. It's like cliched, but you can't look at that and like judge the movie for that, because this movie is what made it cliche. All the things Carpenter did in this movie were new from the time, and they were inventive, but then everyone saw how successful Halloween was, and they copied the same exact cliches and stuff, and then it became a cliche. So watching the film today, like with somebody who's never seen it, it's gonna look, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna look kind of bad to them because it was made on a budget of like $300,000, I think. It was really low. It was something in the $100,000s, and there's obviously a lot of little mistakes that anybody can go in and nitpick on for hours on end, but you can't look at those things when you're judging this movie. This movie is still one of the best horror films to date, because horror films nowadays, they're all just jump scares. Like me and me and my friend Ben, we went to go see the Pet Sematary remake recently, and it was terrible. I hated it. Every 10 seconds there was a random jump scare. There was no build up. There was no tense moments, and it wasn't gripping. Like every 5 seconds there was just another random jump scare thrown at you. There are like 6 different truck jump scares because our family lives on the side of a road, so whenever they think, oh, our film's getting too boring, they just have this random semi-truck drive right by them and honk their horn. They do that like it's terrible. And there's this whole other subplot. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but there's this whole other subplot it does nothing for the film, and it's just there to add more jump scares. And I hate movies that do that. The Nun, any Conjuring movie nowadays, Annabelle, all that stuff, The Conjuring 1, 2 were good. The rest are just jump scares. Literally every horror film, even the new Halloween movie, is subject to this. That one's not as bad, but all the new horror movies, all they are jump scares. And that's why it's so refreshing to go back and watch Halloween, because this movie spends like the first hour just world building. And it does such a good job at that. It does such a good job at laying down the setting and the characters that in the third act, when all the crap hits the fan, you know where these characters are. It's not like in like any movie where stuff starts going down and they just start going to random places that you've never seen before just to have like a cool place to have this fight or this chase go down. You get in all of these houses and you like learn the characters in those houses. So when Michael is chasing Laurie in the final scene, you know like the layout of those houses, and it makes it more tense because you think that there's nowhere to go. Like, there is nowhere to go. She almost dies like 3 times, and she stabs him in the neck, in the eye, and everywhere. And in the chest. And, yeah, because you know where all those places are, and you know the layout of the houses, because they do such a good job of world building. And, yeah, he has amazing... John Carpenter is an amazing director, is basically all I'm saying. He's so good at building these worlds and building these characters to where they seem like people, like real people. And like The Thing is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and they build the characters so well in that movie. All the main characters, that cast is stellar. And that I'm using that as a segue into the acting in this movie. Okay, it's not that great, I'm gonna tell you. John Carpenter, as I said, he does such a good job of building characters and building settings so you know where everything is and you feel closer to the film. But it was low budget. They didn't have the money to get good actors. I'm blanking on his name. The guy who plays Dr. Loomis, I'm sorry I can't remember his name. He is a great actor. He does phenomenal in this movie. He is the best actor by far in this movie. He definitely sticks out. Like in that one scene when he's talking about Michael when he was like working on him in the mental hospital, and he talks about like he had the devil's eyes and stuff. He's phenomenal every part of this movie. Laurie Strode. I'm blanking on everyone's names. I should have probably grabbed the box. Laurie Strode. You know, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. The lady who plays Laurie Strode, I promise I'll remember in a second. But she does a great job in this film. She's good. But in the... everybody says this. It's not just my opinion. She gets a little whiny at the end when she's being chased by Michael and she's just crying everywhere. You know, but it's believable. It's not... It's not jarring. She doesn't do terrible. It's alright. And it's believable that somebody would act like that in that situation. But I feel like she could act a bit better. But she was like a first-time actor. That's all they could afford. But she did a great job. Now she's a household name. So, yeah. She's good. Most of the other cast, though, I'm not going to lie, is terrible. Especially her 2 friends. The one with the curly hair who gets stuck in the laundry room and gets killed in the car, she's okay. She's not great, but she's okay. The other lady, though, I hate her. I'm just laying out the sins of this film right now. I hate her. The lady who says totally every 5 seconds, that is the most atrocious acting I've ever seen on film. It's like Disney Channel level stuff. I'm not kidding. It's so terrible, and it's a disgrace to everyone else. But, you know, for the most part, everyone else is alright. It's just like Laurie's friends that just... I hate them, okay? I can't get over Laurie's friends. That's the one part I don't like about this movie. But, despite all its flaws, and it's got a lot, you can go in this movie and nitpick a bunch of little stuff that he messed up on. But they had a low budget, and it has a lot of flaws. I'm just saying that. They're tiny flaws. They don't affect the plot. But despite all those flaws, this is still one of the best horror movies of all time. It has so much tension in the final scene, you know, the chase scene, and all the build up to that is creepy. this is the word I'm looking for. I was looking for it the whole video and I couldn't think of it. This movie is just filled bottom to top with atmosphere. I hate, again, going back to new movies, I hate them. They have no atmosphere. Pet Sematary had no atmosphere. It was just jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, in your face, loud noises. That's all it makes you do. It's just loud noises. That's not scary. It's surprising. This movie, for the first hour, it's just watching these characters build and watching Michael stalk them. And that's what makes this movie so terrifying, is it seems real. Because it's just a guy in a mask who is stalking these people, and then finally, when it comes to night, he just decides to kill them, or try to kill them in the case of Laurie. And he doesn't kill them. I'm glad they retconned Halloween 2, because he doesn't aim for Laurie because she's his sister. That whole thing was stupid. He goes for Laurie because he just sees him first. She stepped on his territory when she dropped off the keys at the Myers house. And he goes, okay, that's my target. And he stalks her and her friends for the rest of the day. And at night, finally, all that buildup for over an hour, it unfolds. And you see these people die. And it's just full of atmosphere. This movie is full of tension and atmosphere. And it's just shot so well. The directing is beautiful. I love this movie. So, for my rating, I'm going to give it... It has flaws. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And only because this isn't like... If it came out today, obviously it wouldn't be an 8 out of 10 film. If it came out today, I'd probably give it like maybe a 6 out of 10. Because I would still love the atmosphere. But it's got a lot of flaws that, like, if it came out today and it had a big budget, you just couldn't look past that. But this was a small budget 1978 film with first-time actors and a director who really didn't do anything before. And it changed the course of horror movies forever and movies forever. This influenced every movie after it. Especially in the horror genre, but it touched everybody. It changed the course of filmmaking. And it deserves credit for that. This was groundbreaking when it came out. So I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. Honestly, for my personal enjoyment, it's a 9.5 out of 10. But I'm just going to rate it 8 out of 10 because it has flaws that they're a little annoying when you watch it. But they don't bother you unless you're super just like OCD person. They don't bother you because this movie is still amazing. It's just got those tiny little flaws scattered throughout that most people just, they won't care. But there will be some people who hate this film just because it's sometimes it's poorly made and it has little flaws. And that was the wrong word. It's not poorly made. Again, it's beautiful direction, but it's just there are the little flaws that you expect from a low-budget film, and most people are going to look past that. So I give that an 8 out of 10. Again, personal enjoyment, 9.5 out of 10. I love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies. But definitely, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. And I guess I'll see you guys later.